We take two? All right.
Okay, go again.
I'll make a motion to waive the legal notice of this hearing for the road.
I'll second.
Commissioner Smeedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Okay, so if anyone has any comments, right?
Nope,
You,
no,
Mr.
I have
Lane?
no
You would
comments.
be most effective.
No, I think we're ready. We're comfortable with what was described to us by the township and the county. I did have one open. I think we talked about the taxes rate, and so my assumption, we don't have the final numbers because they're estimated, but that our taxable income or taxable rate would lower
Your value.
because we're giving up that land,
Oh,
and then
I
a
see.
portion of the land that abuts against our house property.
Well, that could be
That's
nice.
correct.
It's like
Yeah,
a
With
puzzle.
the auditor's
Yeah,
office.
we spend about $300 a year on that plot, 150 a half, somewhere in there, or 125.
They've gone through the calculations, but until it actually goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably have to wait until there's
But other than that,
actual
we're good.
plat.
And Russell Township's ready also.
Yeah,
Good.
and that straightens it out for you.
Yes. Now, what is the surveyor doing down there?
Surveyors right now are marking the end of the dedicated road and the beginning of the private driveway as it exists today.
No public hearing.
There is a T-type turnaround that exists on paper that is public right away, that the township could build a turnaround there and walk away from this, but that's not the desire of all parties involved. Our desire is to make this a public right away and make this the official turnaround. Yes.
Well, this isn't the
Do
usual.
the buses ever come down here? Do school buses
They
come?
do not, because we actually have to take our, we have 4 kids, and we have to drive them up to the corner. and
It's
stop.
not, this isn't long enough?
It is. We've had semis turn around, and it's actually from.
No, I meant for the schools don't have to go down if it's less than a half a mile or something.
I don't know that. I was always told that it was a safety issue because of the width of the
Well,
road.
that may be true also, but I know there's a length for a cul-de-sac road. And don't quote me on that.
No, this is a third of a mile, so I don't know what that length is.
Yeah,
There is some criteria because some cul-de-sacs or subdivisions have it, some don't. So it's either length or safety, width of the
it's
road.
some of it, again, in Chardon, if it was less than half a mile, unless there was a kindergartner, and then the school said, we'll come down to get the
Okay.
kindergarten child.
Okay.
Other than that, but that may have changed. There was up to there's a state law and then local option.
Yeah, there is criteria involved.
All I know is they always pick my kids up right in front of the house.
Yeah.
It was the best place. They always.
No, my kids had to
But
walk to the end of the road.
They used to sit inside the house and run like
Run
hell.
out around and
If
get
it
out.
wasn't 50, it wouldn't be a big
Or
issue.
my
but
husband would
it's a
sit there in
safety
the driver's
concern.
seat, Frank.
What's that?
It's a safety concern. You got young kids that are buses stopping at a 50-mile-an-hour road.
Oh, no, I understand that.
So we go up every day.
I understand that too.
So are we good to close the
Are we
public
good to
hearing?
close the public hearing, or
I think
do we want to
can,
go look
right?
at that other end of that stakes, or what? We don't need
I
to.
think we're good, huh?
Yep, surveyors can
Everybody,
mark up
and we have a
more if they like.
trustee here who is speaking for the rest
I had a
of us.
question on this. On the when I looked at the drawing, you've got it's almost like a circle as part of the cul-de-sac. How much into my current 1.8 acre lot does that go? I would like to know that.
Mark that out right now.
Yeah, just so my wife has a good understanding.
You don't want to put flowers where they're
Well,
going
if you want to put a light there or something, not that anyone's going to argue.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna plant flowers, let us know because when we
Uh-oh.
I've got so many.
Oh,
Do
no,
ya?
we don't plant people. No, we get.
I remember the county engineer used to have this ivy on in front of his house, and once it would go on as a trustee. Make sure he parked those clown ivy. What did he do the next day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Took it right out.
Well, it's county. It's township county property.
But it's hard to.
Oh, it picks it up. Yeah. Guess what's going to win that? The plow.
Yeah. So a lot of those things we have to tell people, oh, they just.
Well, we do. We've got the rights on it. We don't.
There's somebody. Your mom.
They're gonna send out work for the township.
That's how we know him. He's a friend of the family's, and he's been down here with a city or county truck before, or a township truck.
Put on paper with the shape of the right away.
That's what we know of.
That sounds like one of the walls.
Yeah.
And then you came back.
You need to do that occasionally.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I enjoy doing this. I just got through a year. I think I got not quite sure what it was.
I hear you. Gary, this is the.
This is nice here. It's nice.
I'm Mike, by the way.
How are you?
This is kind of cool.
Yeah. Just a little more.
So where does the actual road end right now?
Road ends right now.
Yeah.
That pink flag up there. We just put some paint marks on the road.
Oh, that pink line over there, right by that
There's
post?
a pink flag there, and
Yeah.
you go stretch across the street. That is the end.
That's the end of the road down
end
there.
of the dedicated right away.
Okay.
Beginning of the private
Okay.
property. And the surveyors are going to.
So the total length from that point to the end of this cul-de-sac here is about how far?
I didn't know.
No.
270 feet.
270 feet. Okay. Yeah.
The center of the cul-de-sac.
A little shorter in length of a football field.
And add 75 for the radius of the cul-de-sac itself.
Okay.
The surveyor's going to set up right now to mark that out. Mr. Kling's requested.
Okay. All right.
So it might take us a few minutes.
Yeah. All right.
They were the first owner of that house. They were looking for the house They are, they were snowbirds for a while.
Yeah.
Now they're
Permanent residence down there. Yeah, that looks more attractive every year I get older.
we love it here.
I took it away here.
My kids love it. You know, one of the reasons we moved to the school district
That's
from
awake.
a school district was not great at that point. And when we looked at opportunities for our kids, we had 22 at that time. This became a real important thing for us.
It's that thing halfway up there.
Yeah, I did.
So that was a pair of steps.
There's no actual mark denoting the end of it.
Before we put brick in. That is a pair of steps. I thought you were going to ask me what that thing is. That's my well. That's the other reason why I want it marked off. Because my well accesses that pipe right there. And I want to make sure we're not interfering with any of that.
It is, some firemen intended to do that. Maybe looks like they had.
This predates us, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of centuries ago.
Andy and I were talking.
Way to go.
Well, you have to. If you're going to keep the
Around
vehicle.
here, and then they put that.
We couldn't have done that legally, but didn't know it at the time. You guys did on the road. Yeah. They tore it up. We were out. We had no road access for about 3 days while they did it. But,
Who found that?
You guys take all your meetings.
yeah, we'll get it done.
Well, we did. We rolled the red circle. Yeah, these guys.
Probably the only one in the township with this, or is it another one?
Anybody get hurt on that accident over there?
We need to close it.
Mark at his request.
Quite tough. There was 2 or 3 there.
Or was this like right in front of Notre Dame there in Auburn? I was going to pick up my daughter and Andy was helping out.
But you gotta do all
up over. How are you doing?
Good, real good.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking football here. Okay.
Well, there.
I got you.
Very good.
As soon as we close.
The intent is not to necessarily, you have the right to, but you're not gonna pave into here, you're gonna pave the area that's paved right now?
That's for the township.
Well,
It's
I
always
think
good
that-
if they pay for
It would be, a good
No,
thing,
no.
but it would depend
Say
on the
yes.
need.
Yeah.
And then if we come into this, if we would pave it, it would be, you wouldn't see a difference.
I got you, yeah, I got you.
We're
Okay.
not gonna make it any bigger or any smaller.
I don't care, but I have my boss that
Right.
I gotta get the answer for. And I mean that in the most enduring
We
way.
would let you.
We're partners.
Right, we would let you know, and from what I can see, it's, if we did, and it broke up or we needed to.
Yeah.
Honey, we're going to Hawaii.
We need to put that in the minutes.
Yeah.
We advised them.
We're going to Hawaii.
Good news and bad news.
That's good. Yeah.
Come home in front yard is gone. Buddy.
Yeah, what happened
You're
there?
we're gonna have the bus now come down here. Our kids are graduating.
Yeah, but it's good parking when you have a party.
Yeah,
have
it's
that
great.
big party,
Why,
everybody-
you could just close it off there and have
Right.
it just go set up the food you're in. Have the whole party.
Good teacher lives next door to me. She had like a Christmas party last Friday. And I came home.
We like it, no street lights,
There's
very
actually
quiet.
one in front of my mailbox.
Matter of fact,
I
when
couldn't get
somebody's
my
on our
mail.
street,
They were
we know
parked
is
all
not
the way down the road.
like
The one in front of my mailbox.
I've had, high school kids come down here and think that it's a nobody who lives down here and you had to call the cops a couple times.
They like these colors or something.
They do.
Oh, they
Oh, we got lost previously. Come on, 45 minutes.
Right in front of my mailbox. I had to go around.
We're doing something else. Where do you live?
I live over in East Street.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Fairly close.
I ride my motorcycle over and view all that.
Oh, yeah?
I love this area.
Remember last year?
I have a 96 Kawasaki
Guy
football
backed right into that
and it's the original
convertible
motor.
with Diane Liddell in it. Remember that
Right.
62
Right.
Impala convertible? The guy packed.
I've got it.
Oh.
Then he started cussing him out,
And the
yelling.
guy had a, that was like.
Right now, actually.
You're right, it was a 62 Impala convertible, and the guy had somewhat disabled.
That's our plan.
The driver.
Kids are old enough now where, although we have.
So then, at this point in time, then I'll ask for a motion to close the viewing.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
And this is much
Second.
better than Palmer.
And then.
No, you did not. All right.
I move that we
Well, you gotta
recess.
vote, do the vote.
I can't answer it.
I move that we
certainly
recess the
can,
meeting and reconvene when we all get back to 470 Center,
Yeah, and then,
building for the Commissioners' Chambers.
and then so I took off and
All right?
All right, good morning, everyone.
We're coming back from recess.
Recess, right?
I will make a motion to come back from recess. I don't know if we get to do that.
We are back into the regular session at 10 o'clock.
Being very regular.
So the first item is going to be Commissioners will report on the financials. So, how do you do it? Dave's going to do it for
I'm going to report on the
Okay.
financials from last week, December 18th.
Okay.
Appropriation transfers, supplemental appropriations for the 18th included just transfers to adjust appropriations for year-end payroll processing, cash transfers, a cash transfer out of the general fund for local match portions of the ODOT Department of Aviation Grant Project number 14-03, request number 1, request number 2. Vouchers included third quarter 2014 bed tax disbursements to the City of Chardon, Burton Village, Russell Township, and Geauga Tourism Council. Payment number 4 to Lakeland Management for the addition to the engineers building in the amount of $171,186. No action required, I'm just reporting what I approved last week.
Did you do okay, Heidi? All right. Then for the minutes for December 11, 2014, motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Abstain.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion stands approved. And now the minutes from December 16, 2014, if we could have a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved. There's those two.
This is 16. I voted on this one.
And now we've got
Airport.
Airport Authority.
Patty.
Patty, morning.
Morning, how are you?
Good, good.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yep, thank you.
Miss
It's nice to be here today. Sun was shining yesterday, that was nice. We had
For
plans
a
out
very
Sunday.
short period.
Yeah. We're here for a couple things today. We did receive payment from ODOT for our request number 1, directly to the airport, and just needed to have you acknowledge, and county match. County match on this one was $6,080.81 on request number 1. And request number 2, the same thing. Match on that one was $9,591 for the local match. And this was for the ODOT project where they were paving north of both T-hangers. Those projects are not FAA eligible because at some point those T-hangers may come down if too close to the runway. Unfortunately, if we take them down now, it takes out most of our general operating funds. So they've been patient with us, and as we get everything in order, eventually, once we have all the landside things in order, they will help to fund the T-hangers. So we have a lot of things to get done before that point, but they're being patient with us. And we've got them lit so they're not obstructions, and all is well.
Okay, so if we could read number 5.
The Geauga County Airport Authority is requesting the board acknowledge and approve reimbursement request number 1 for the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, Department of Aviation Grant Project number 14-03 to reconstruct taxiways A and B in a total amount of $60,808.10, $54,727.29 ODOT portion, and $6,080.81 local county match.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
My motion approved. And then for number 6. Okay.
Geauga County Airport Authority is requesting the board acknowledge and approve reimbursement request number 2 for the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, Department of Aviation Grant Project number 14-03 to reconstruct taxiways A and B in a total amount of $95,910, $86,319 ODOT portion, and $9,591 local county match.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Motion approved.
ODOT Department of Aviation did fly out yesterday to look over the project, and they're gonna be closing that one out as well. And then, the 7th one, this is a FAA grant. This is, request number 3, for $12,920. Of that, the county local match is $1,292. And that, has been submitted. It will be a little while before that's back, it'll be the first year probably.
Okay. So number 7 then.
The Geauga County Airport Authority is requesting the board acknowledge and approve reimbursement request number 3 for FAA Grant Project 339005400172014 in the amount of $12,920, $11,628 FAA portion, and $1,292 local county match.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
My motion approved.
Thank you all for your support.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Okay, now. Okay, then Heidi, for financials.
Today's financials include a revenue certification for the county engineer's road improvement fund for federal and state funding, supplemental D appropriations for the juvenile court volunteer guardianship and juvenile recovery funds for year-end compliance, appropriation transfers to adjust appropriations for year-end payroll processing, and from the contingency fund to put appropriations in place for the payment of the engineer's office building fund for the office addition project. And we have 2 vouchers, payment to the State Board of Building Standards for building fees collected, and the Geauga Airport Authority for reimbursements 1 and 2 for the ODOT Department of Aviation Project 03, that's the local match
I'll
that
make
Eddie
that.
was talking about.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Skibby?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved. The county auditor. So I guess it's executed and filed the monthly statement of the county finances by the county for the month of October 2014 pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 319.15. And then, do we want to do also the treasurer's request and the board accept and file the monthly statements of county finances filed by the county treasurer for the month of October to 2014 pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 319.15.
Okay, I'll make those motions for the auditor.
Not,
and-
yeah, 9 and 10.
Yeah,
9 and 10.
Okay.
9 and 10, which are for the auditor and the treasurer.
I'll second them.
Commissioner Skibby?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, both approved. And then we've got the Department on Aging. Morning, Jessica.
Hey, good morning.
Are you leaving?
Okay, so we're trying to get our contracts tied up or completed before the beginning of the year. So beginning with our Middlefield Village, the community center, we use that as our Middlefield Senior Center Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. The price has not changed at all, and the previous lease didn't have a term date, so this puts a 2-year lease in place.
All right, if we could read number 11.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement for services between the Geauga County Board of Commissioners and Village of Middlefield for the Middlefield Village Senior Center for a 2-year term, January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2016, in the amount of $14,000, $7,000 per year.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion stands approved.
The second is the Sugar and Falls Park Community Center. We do have a lease in place at this time. It actually is up in March. I put that in place when I started because it needed to be in place. What I'm hoping to do is, since the levy passed, I wanted to commit to a 2-year lease, but begin at January 1st, so I can finally get these contracts on the schedule.
Sounds like a good idea.
All right, if we could.
You're under contract with them
With
from
them.
January till March?
We are with them from last January until this coming March, so this will overlap the time, so there won't be an issue. So our original lease that we had for
So
1
we
year.
have anything that terminates that 4 months or whatever?
Yes, we can, well, it's a continuation, it's not a higher price, but the board will just give us a letter that to accept the new lease, their board.
Okay.
Are you okay with that, Blake, or?
Yeah, I just didn't, know, I mean,
Just understand.
we're starting this new one on January 1, when we already have one that's there for January through March.
Right.
I would have probably said we could do a 2-year term from March, starting in April or whatever, too.
I agree. When I
As long as it's noted that we're terminating that one, so we're not paying 4,000.
Oh, no. The reason I'm moving it is because when I first came on, I just wanted to get leases in place, but now I really kind of want to get things on a schedule, as opposed to this site being up in March, this up in February, and it being all over the place.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right then. So if we could do a read on that?
Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the lease between the Geauga County Board of Commissioners and the Sugar and Falls Park Community Center Corporation for the Senior Center for a 2-year term, January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2016, in the amount of $48,000, $2,000 per month.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
Okay, the next is our federal funding that we've received for the last few years. What this is, it pays for the transportation to our adult day service, folks without caregivers. And we also get some funds for our adult day service participants who have caregivers. And lastly, we have an evidence-based health program that we also get funding for as well.
Any questions? Okay, if we could do a read on that one.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging contract and amendment to the grant agreement with the Geauga County Board of Commissioners for the Department on Aging for the Older Americans Act Senior Community Services for the period January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2015 for the reimbursement of cost of services in the amount of $256,797.52.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Motion is approved.
Okay, and then lastly, we did receive a bid for our elderly nutrition program, which we are very happy about.
This is.
So Page Food Services, they did bid for our nutrition program, and we would like to accept their bid. We did have a taste panel as well, and their food was very edible. It was good.
And that one is gonna be replacing
Valley Foods.
Valley Foods, okay?
Because they are going out of business, and they are doing, I think, military sandwiches now.
Okay.
They're not,
So-
they're not going out of business, they're just
Oh,
focusing in a different
right, they're going out of
market.
business as far as home delivered meals are concerned and doing something quite different.
So is this a lot more, or?
It's a bit more.
That's what
we
I
are-
thought,
Yeah,
was that
we are looking,
these-
the Group A was about $397 previously, and Group B, which is our therapeutic meals, they were about, I believe, between $420 and $430. So it is a bit of an increase. There is a pro with this agency, however, our delivery times have been not what the agency has wanted with the previous vendor. So we can now control the delivery time, so my staff will be able to be more productive instead of them getting food at 6:30 in the morning at Sugar Falls and seniors not getting there until 8. They're now going to deliver food at 8 o'clock, so I think it's a win-win.
Fresh, yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Okay. So if we could do a read on that one then.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board award the bid to Page Food Services for the elderly nutrition program for the preparation and delivery of meals for the period January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2016 in the amount of $4.19 through $4.43 per meal for Group A and $5.50 per meal for Group B for the year 2015, with an increase for 2016 based on 2015 prices and adjusted by the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers for food away from home.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And a happy holiday.
Thank you. Thank you. And then Community Economic Development.
Morning, how are you?
The first one, hopefully it's the last time I have to sit here and say something about BF 13. This is the signing of the amendment which you requested for BF 13 due to the changes in the grant.
If we could do a read on that.
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the Office of Community Development fiscal year 2013 Community Development Block Grant Amendment number B-F-13-1AC-1.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
And the next two, number 16 is requesting the board to approve and execute the letter of commitment for Zestive. This will be a loan through the revolving loan fund. And the letter of commitment is, it's not a legal binding document. It's basically just to state the terms of the loan. Once it all goes through, these are the legal docs that will be coming through soon.
Okay. So if we can do a read on number 16 then.
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve and execute the letter of commitment to Zestive Incorporated for the revolving loan fund loan, RLF loan for working capital for the facility located at 16758 West Park Circle, Bainbridge Township, in the amount of $45,000 for 3 years, 36 months at 5% interest.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
And the next one is also regarding Zestive. This is CDPG ER information that we have to send in. It's stating that this project does not violate any environmental issues. There won't be environmental issues with this project.
Okay, if we could do a read on that.
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the certification of determination of subsequent exemption for a categorical exclusion project for a community development block grant revolving loan fund loan to Zestive Incorporated for working capital for the facility located at 16758 West Park Circle, Bainbridge Township, in the amount of $45,000.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved. And then number 18.
18 and 19 are two mortgages that have been paid off this morning.
Hey, Joan.
Through the CHIP program, and one is for down payment assistance, one is for rehabilitation assistance. So both mortgages have been paid.
That's 18 and 19.
18 and 19.
Okay, if we could do a read on those two then.
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve and execute a satisfaction of mortgage for James L. Palmer for down payment assistance for property located at 15507 Kevin Road, Burton, under grant number BC030261, as the mortgage in the amount of $6,800 has been satisfied. The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve and execute a satisfaction of mortgage for James L. Palmer for rehabilitation assistance for property located at 15507 Tavern Road, Burton, under grant number BC030262, as the mortgage in the amount of $4,059 has been satisfied.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, both approved.
Thank you.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Good morning.
Hi.
Morning, Dale.
Dale?
Glad you get the memo. Oh, yeah. The first one is the revision to the radiological emergency response plan. And the major change had to do with the closing of Ledgemont High School. They're currently, all it showed, that was the only school that was within our 10-mile emergency planning zone. And currently they're being housed at what they call the old elementary school, which is called Ledgemont School now. So that was the major changes throughout the whole plan. Since they're within the 10-mile zone, there was relocation of school children to the elementary, and after a certain period of time, then they were taken to the Cardinal High School. Another requirement because of Fukushima had to do with the federal government said they had to have satellite phones at the sheriff's office and our office, so they installed cell phones, or satellite phones, and that's something that the utility pays for. I don't know why, but.
How many phones are there?
There are two. There's one of them.
One at yours.
I guess they're thinking if something were to happen in the control room or on communications went down, we're to get back up. And so they installed one each.
Can you borrow them if you go on like a remote
Yeah.
trip or something?
Well, it was funny, they came yesterday because it wasn't working and they were out, we have that pad that goes to the generator and it's got the concrete blocks over it. Well, obviously, or allegedly, well, we didn't have a camera on it, but it looks like a groundhog went in and chewed it up because we couldn't get the phones to ring.
Oops.
Is that right?
Did you file a police report?
No. So,
That squirrel in jail.
they said they chew it when they get a jolt, they get upset and then they chew through it, so
Is that right?
that's what the guy said to me. So, they replaced that, so, we didn't have the Fukushima, but we did have a groundhog attack, so.
It was a terrorist
Yeah,
or ISIS.
so, true. So that's pretty much the changes. They're listed in front of the pen, but those are major changes for 2015.
Okay, we could do a read on that.
Department of Emergency Services is requesting the board approve and execute and further authorize the Director of the Department of Emergency Services to execute the radiological emergency response plan for an emergency at the Perry Nuclear Power Plant, revision 23, dated January 2015.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
It's in the basket.
Oh, I gotta sign it.
Here. If you need to sign two places, but they're on
The next one has to do with the annual agreement between the Department of Emergency Services, which is under the hiring authority of the county commissioners, and the local emergency planning committee for the work that we do for them. Dave Sage here is the chairman, and I guess my question is, do you think you're getting your money's worth?
Yes. If we didn't contract with DES to do it, we would be hiring someone, and they'd still be having to work with Dale and Ken and Tara to do the work, so it would be a duplication of services and a waste of the grant money we get, honestly, whereas that grant money is being used to train first responders and put on classes and things like that, so it's a better
We used to have employee benefits, they paid out quite a bit more.
Yeah, that was a lot more.
Yeah, so it's a better, they're having to do quite a bit of it as it is, so it makes sense to have them do it all. So it's a good fit for both the LEPC and Geauga County.
Okay. Any questions on that, or you just, okay, if we could do a read on that then?
The Department of Emergency Services is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute an agreement between the Department of Emergency Services under the Geauga County Board of Commissioners and the Geauga County Local Emergency Planning Committee to provide the following services to LEPC: Administrative Support Emergency Response Coordinator if elected by the Geauga LEPC, Permanent Secretary Treasurer Responsibilities, Information Coordinator if elected by the Geauga LEPC, Compliance Plan Development and Exercising, Grant Applications, Training and the Maintaining of all required chemical filing forms and records in the amount of $15,000 for the year 2015.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
And I want to give Dave a hard copy of the after-action report for the Perry exercise. The Federal Emergency Management Agency said it was the best exercise that they've seen involving a hostile action-based incident in the whole region. We got perfect marks, all 3 counties and the state of Ohio. It's first in the region. So, and lastly, I want to thank Mary for participating in all the drills over these years. And how many disaster declarations have we done together?
Oh, man, 11 times. I
Thank
don't
you.
know.
You were always there, and I
Yeah.
remember being at her house trying to get Craig Albert to sign the.
Oh, my God, yeah, that's right.
When we
I
had
don't know
the
what he was
flooding up
doing
in, flooding up in Thompson, and
Yeah.
we went through, we got the presidential declaration for that, and a couple
That's
other
right.
declarations,
Yeah.
and it really assisted the citizens. And plus, FEMA always makes the remark that they don't see commissioners show up for exercises. And I think every one of you have participated, and I thank you very much for that.
You've done a good job, yeah, let's face it, you've been number one.
Thank you.
Yep,
Okay,
thank you.
Have
Yep,
a
Merry Christmas.
You too.
Alrighty, so the engineer's office.
Morning.
How you doing?
Very yourself?
Really good.
The first one we have on here is just the final change order for the OPWC project of the replacement of the Powers Mill Road Bridge. It's actually an increase. I think one of the first ones we had of $695. Put a little bit extra pipe out there, a little bit more dirt. So we fought a lot of water on that one this year, trying to get it in. But
Is that the same one, right there at the bottom?
right there,
of
at the
road?
bottom, right there,
Yeah.
at the mill, right next to
Yeah.
the mill.
So it's working out? all
It's
right?
working great.
Yeah.
You know, it came out with a real good project. So,
Yeah.
but ultimately, it's just
It's always been
a little bit extra pipe.
controversial, yeah.
That's all we need to do to make it come out right.
Sure.
So.
Okay. If we could do a read on that then.
The county engineer's office is requesting the board approve and execute change order number 1 and final, increasing the contract with Burton Scott Contractors for the replacement of Fowler's Mill Road Bridge, structure number 108-0.18 in Munson Township in the amount of $695.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
23, 24, and 25 are pretty much close to the same. Steelhead Run and Flatfisher Way in Hamden Township. Developer has met his requirements, come through on his total maintenance, and it should be turned over to Hamden Township for their full control at this point in time, of which we also would be releasing the maintenance guarantee and the paving guarantee for those projects, for that subdivision.
Great.
If we could do a read on those then.
The county engineer's office is requesting the board accept Steelhead Run TR 1066 and Flatfisher Way TR 1067 for total maintenance by Hamden Township. The county engineer's office is requesting the board release the maintenance guarantee for Coldwater Reserve subdivision in Hamden Township in the amount of $40,000. The county engineer's office is requesting the board release the paving guarantee for Coldwater Reserve subdivision in Hamden Township in the amount of $50,000.
I'll make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved. And then number 26.
26 is a new subdivision, McFarland Woods subdivision, Phase 1 off Savage Road. This is the establishment of the drainage maintenance district account, basically the account so that if any repairs need to be done in the future, there's an account with money to pay for those repairs.
Okay. If we we could do a read on that.
The county engineer's office is requesting the board approve and execute the request for the establishment of drainage maintenance district pursuant to ORC 6131.63 EdSec from Geauga Pro Properties LLC in regards to the new McFarland Woods subdivision phase 1.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
27 is just the McFarland Woods subdivision, getting the commissioner's approval on the plans. Joe has already signed an agreement with the subdivision plans and needs your approval too.
Okay, we could do a read on that.
Just the top one. The county engineer's office is requesting the board approve the construction drawings and schedules by assigning the title sheet of the drawings for the McFarland Woods subdivision phase 1 in Bainbridge Township.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
Yeah, that's the magic mark.
I'll trade off here. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Christmas.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Morning.
Morning, how are ya?
Aye.
Good, good.
Morning.
We've got Huntsburg Township here.
Yeah, motion 28, item 28 is requesting the board sign and designated CEO for the Burton Windsor resurfacing project, which is Ohio Public Works project for 2015.
That's good, like.
And they're gonna be paving from where to where?
From 528 to the county line.
So going east then?
Correct.
Okay. All right. If we can do a read on number 28.
Before I read this, I have a question for you. I need to know which member you are appointing as the CEO for the project. 28, 29, and 30 are all designating a member of the board as the CEO for those projects going forward. So we have to include that in the resolution, so we need to know which one of you will be designated as that member.
Is this what we talked about yesterday? Okay. Well, when I saw this yesterday, I mean, if we have to make the decision today and we called Shane, that decision is between you and me, Ralph. Because Mary won't be here.
I won't be here.
Okay.
And I'd like to
Postpone it.
yeah, postpone this until
Okay.
Skip becomes seated.
Okay.
And that way, if he's got an interest in this.
Okay.
we're
Would
not-
would that affect your deal?
Well, it does, because selecting an executive to administer the contracts is not tied to the board's organizational hierarchy. So whoever is chosen as board president, vice president is not necessarily contingent to select somebody to execute the contracts.
It's just executing the
I
contract.
have to, this is part of our paperwork that we have to turn into the state.
So this is not something that we have, one
This
of our
is
members
different.
is gonna attend this.
Correct.
No.
Was
This
that
is-
on here, or?
No, that's a
Sounds
different
like,
matter.
so they could actually appoint a commissioner like Claypool.
Well, I think you could just, it's just assigning things. You know, you can make
If
blanket
that's all,
or
if that's all, and
What we were talking about is something different, is the
OPWC.
commissioner's
yeah, having
position
you attend the
on-
meetings and do
No,
all
that's
that,
different.
Totally
and
different.
stay abreast of
Yeah,
it,
that's
and
totally different.
I don't wanna deny the new commissioner
Correct.
if he's got,
Correct. This is just a matter of picking one of the board to sign contracts for next year's projects, and it can be any of the active members. Obviously, it wouldn't be appropriate to have Mary do it if.
I won't be here.
no,
Right.
she'll have to mail it to
I
her.
would make a blanket.
Right. So,
That's-
He likes to sign things, or Ralph,
I
it made
don't- I
difference
don't
to
care.
me.
It
It's
doesn't
just
matter.
assigning, yeah.
the other matter is what we talked about yesterday, about tabling the appointment of members to
Of-
the
of the-
committees.
The committee. that's
Committee
after-
members, that
after
would
the
be there, right,
reorganization.
okay.
Or at least after January.
Well, I'd make a motion to make Blake the signer.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
I
Did we
think-
read all these or not? We voted on them, did we read them all?
Hold on one second.
I mean, I don't know, that might be a
No,
formality.
we just made this signer. Now we can read it because we know who the signer.
Okay.
Oh, my pen's out of ink.
You'll be sorry, you'll see. You'll
Can't
have
be
to sign
signing.
it. You'll have enough to, believe me, all three of you will have enough to sign in the next couple of years.
So for 28, the county engineer's office is requesting the board approve and execute resolution number 14-184, which appoints a board member, Blake Freer, as the chief executive officer and certifying representative for the proposed Burton Windsor Road, CH 14, sections F through G, project in Huntsburg Township, and further approve and authorize the chief executive officer to execute the State of Ohio Public Works Commission application for financial assistance. So these two down here,
Okay.
these are Blake and assistant.
All right.
So I
So
think that,
then-
you gonna read the other two, the other one?
Do you wanna say anything else about Dwayne or Clay?
I mean, the other two are the same type of motion. Item 29 is for Thwing, sections A and B from the Lake County line to Auburn Road. And item 30 is Clay Street, County Highway 37, sections A and B from Burton Windsor to Mayfield Road. All three of those roads were selected for Ohio Public Works funding due to their age and condition. And we're gonna proceed with the improvements on all three of those next year through the Ohio Public Works.
Okay.
Just gonna read them all before I make the motion then?
There's one more, isn't there?
29 and 30.
And these are the same way, so the rest of things up here.
Okay.
The county engineer's office is requesting the board approve and execute resolution number 14-185, which appoints a board member, Blake Greer, as the chief executive officer and certifying representative for the proposed Swing Road, CH 27, sections A through B, project in Chardon Township, and further approve and authorize the chief executive officer to execute the State of Ohio Public Works Commission application for financial assistance. The county engineer's office is requesting the board approve and execute resolution number 14-186, which appoints a board member, Blake Greer, as the chief executive officer and certifying representative for the proposed Clay Street CH 37 sections A through B project in Huntsburg Township, and further approve and authorize the chief executive officer to execute the State of Ohio Public Works Commission application for financial assistance.
I'll make those three motions.
Second.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
I motion to all approved. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, you. Yep, have a good Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Okay, number 31, maintenance department, Glenn Burning.
Morning.
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 How are we all today?
Good.
The first one, line item 31. This has been in the works for a couple of years right now. What we've done here is pulled all the departments, so all the waste management comes from one bill. And with putting this all together, currently we're paying $3,600 approximately a month. And as you can see, we got it down to, with the new contract, it's at $1,200 a month. In a year, we would have been paying $43,000 approximately. Now we'll be paying $14,000. Right? And I like to add that not just this cost savings that I'm saying, but other departments. Right? Now that we got it all under one, other departments aren't going out trying to get good pricing and everything else too. I don't want to say wasting their time, but taking time and getting all that. So there's cost savings there for that too. So bringing this all together under one umbrella really, really has helped with all the departments. So I'm looking at approximately $57,000 savings just in 2 years.
Wow.
So
That's big.
This is something that I really, really believe in, of bringing everything together and putting it under one umbrella instead of each department going out and getting their own stuff like that. So,
It's good.
They still go around to all the sites,
yes.
pick them up at the sites. We don't have to, we have one carrier, but
Correct.
they're still doing the same thing, going around every place that we have a dumpster.
Everybody but yours.
Pardon?
Everybody but your dumpster.
Okay.
We're
Yeah,
not
you'll
doing
have
your-
to take yours home.
I'll just set
Sound like a
fire.
winner to me.
I'll just set fire to it and call the EPA.
And
includes ours too, so.
Alrighty, if we could do a read on 31.
The Maintenance Department is requesting the board approve and execute a service contract agreement with Waste Management of Ohio to perform non-hazardous waste management and removal for various county locations in the Safety Center for a 2-year period, year 2015 and 2016, in an amount not to exceed $40,000.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
The next two, 32 and 33, is we re-board our organization chart to add a third part-time person to get her up on the mail machine and the phone operator and everything. These are part-time positions, so that's the way if anything was to happen or anything, at least we have the training, and they're trained up in the whole.
Alright, if we could read those two.
Maintenance Department is requesting the board approve the revised organizational chart to include the addition of a third part-time general communications clerk switchboard operator for 1912 position. The Maintenance Department is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for the position of part-time general communications clerk switchboard operator number 1912. This position will remain posted until filled.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion's approved, and then the other ones are just for the release of the bids.
Correct, so number 34, 35, 36, 37 is the release of the maintenance bids, performance bonds, and they've all completed their jobs.
Okay, so if we could just read 34 through 37.
The Maintenance Department is requesting the board release the bid performance fund for Geauga Services LLC for custodial services at the Geauga County Courthouse Annex Building, as all specifications have been met. The Maintenance Department is requesting the board release the bid performance fund for Signature Lawns and Landscaping Incorporated for the 2012 through 2013 lawn maintenance service for the County Site Group Number 1, Chardon Square, as all specifications have been met. The Maintenance Department is requesting the board release the bid performance fund for Signature Lawns and Landscaping Incorporated for the 2012 through 2013 lawn maintenance services for the County Site Group Number 2, 24-hour service area, as all specifications have been met. The Maintenance Department is requesting the board release the bid performance fund for Signature Lawns and Landscaping Incorporated for the 2012 through 2013 lawn maintenance service for the County Site Group Number 3 Safety Center, as all specifications have been met.
I'll make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
Thank you all, have a Merry
Yep,
Christmas
thank
and
you.
Happy
You too.
Okay, the Transit Department,
Nobody's here for that. This
do
is,
you want to speak on that one, Walter?
The buses ride nicely, although I have never been on one.
How do you know then?
Gloria tells me that her.
Oh, Gloria, okay.
Gloria tells me, oh yeah.
Gloria says it.
And
it's
if
so.
Gloria says it, you know
It's
it's,
so.
you know it's gospel.
I know that.
And my sister's been riding one, and she said, just in the
Smooth?
last month, and she says they're smooth and pretty much on time.
Joe Cosio, do you have anything
And
to add?
every driver is extremely courteous.
Yes.
Yes.
I confirm
with everybody
else. Get back to us in the spring.
We will let them exist in the
So
future.
basically, we've got, here it says, the Transit Department is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute Ohio Department of Transportation Rural Transit Program 2015 grant contract between the Geauga County Board of Commissioners and the State of Ohio Department of Transportation contract number 101 or PTF 15-0100 in the amount of $906,231.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Motion approved. And then for 39 for the transit, it's also requesting board approve and authorize president of board to execute Ohio Department of Transportation 5339 bus and bus facilities grant program 2015 grant contract between Geauga County Board of Commissioners and Ohio Department of Transportation, contract number 101 BABF-15-0200 in the amount of $113,062.00.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved. So for number 40, we've got the Commissioner's Office is requesting the board concur with Chester Township trustees and not requesting a hearing for the liquor license requested by Tavern Concepts LLC, doing business as Chesterland Tavern, located at 8190 Mayfield Road in Chesterland. And it's C new 8815-820-0005.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
Ralph, before you go through all those things, the next
Okay.
thing, I just want to tell you a few things that happened at Milwaukee, which I think would be of interest to the board. There is a policy, a 2012 state policy by ODOT and the MPOs, that the large city program carryover reduction policy. What this is about, if these large cities don't use their money, they don't use it like expected. Let's say they got X amount of dollars to do a road, say Mayfield Road, they're supposed to do it, and they didn't get it done in the time. They're supposed to use up that money. They don't do it. There is something in place there that says, well, then if you don't use it, that money's going to go somewhere else to another county. Well, as it turns out, of all the MPOs in the area, the one that has used all their money down to 8% is Nowaka, and because of that, there was a carryover of 2.7 million. And Nowaka received from them 1.6 million. And this is coming from the Columbus, Cincinnati, and Dayton area. So they didn't use their money up in time, so that money is now been transferred over to our region. And I thought that was something interesting. The other thing that they talked about, they have this the local match for communities that want to do things like with streetscape and things like that. And they always allocate $1 million to that. And the problem with that is they may get like 12 projects. And what happens with projects that you put together, they end up on the shelf. So what they're coming up with this new program where instead of, they're gonna take half the money, which would be $500,000, that would be going for projects, about 6. But then the other half would go for implementing that project, because it's always been criticized that they do these, these applications and they do these studies, but they don't do anything with them. So now what they're saying is, okay, they'll do these projects, but now they have money for implementation. So it won't be like, okay, let's do a project, stick it on the shelf, isn't that nice? We talked about it, But now they're going to have they're going to take the other half of the money, reduce the amount of projects to 6, but now have an implementation monies
Have
to
a
make
bigger proportion doing things.
doing it instead of talking about it.
They're gonna reduce the
Which-
amount of
which-
money that's
which-
for planning.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a good thing, because now, if you're gonna plan something, now you'll have the opportunity to implement it with some kind of cash behind it.
That's frightening. That's that's coming real close to common sense.
I know. And I thought, I really like that, because in the past, it's all been, so we do these studies, what do? We look at the shelf and we got all these studies. What's happened with them? Nothing. So now, now we'll take the money and let's make it happen. So I'm happy about that.
And isn't it true, part of the reason Nowaka is usually spend its money is, for one thing, Geauga County's always had projects ready to go on the shelf.
And ready to
take
finish.
advantage of that.
See, the law, and they've been very lax with this. The law was that you were supposed to use 75% of your money that you received. But areas like the big city areas, they just kind of hung on, took their good old time doing it. Meanwhile, you wonder why are the cities not, why are there holes, why are these things not done? Because they didn't get the projects done in time. And yet, our MPO is, they're pushing because they want these projects finished. They want, shovel ready to go. And now, because of that, we're getting this money that's coming back into the fold for the 5 counties. So I think that's good. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah, I'm fine. Just getting over that cold.
Yeah, don't cough too hard. Okay. Thank
Just
you.
one other thing to add as far as just follow up on a discussion that we had in a complaint that was filed to Craig Swenson over at Jobs and
Yeah.
Family Services.
Yeah, what happened?
Put the complaint out on Thursday of, well, it'll be 2 weeks this Thursday, so I'm not sure how many days that would be, 10 days ago and 11 days ago. And expressed the seriousness of the need for to try to get something in place. And when I had attended the Board of Mental Health meeting on Wednesday night, the board members had made a motion to have a special meeting in January to discuss this testing, or not testing, but survey further, in which case it was unanimously agreed that the doctor, the one doctor that was on the board himself, expressed that he was bothered by what he had learned, because not a single board member on the mental health board had ever seen it. And Mr. Adams pretty much, I feel, concealed that information because he probably knew that it wasn't material that would be probably looked at in a very good eye. So basically the agreement was made to stop, to try to put the brakes on the project and to discuss this, that they were going to have a special meeting. Commissioner Claypool was there, I was there, and they even asked us about the potential of getting space because they felt that there would be enough public outcry, in which I had expressed to them that I don't see an issue if we had to have it in Building 8, if we had to try to make arrangements to get a bigger venue to be able to hold the people that would, I'm sure, be in opposition of this for that special meeting. And nothing was came out as far as I think that I spoke to the prosecutor, I spoke to Craig Swenson, that they were both in belief that there was probably going to be a wait on this thing to do this. GFS, from what I understand, to the best of my knowledge, was continuing to do some form of an investigation of fact-finding.
Yes.
I'm disturbed to report back that last
Wednesday, I believe it was.
well, between Wednesday and Friday, Berkshire, Newberry, and Cardinal schools all received that survey and given it to their students after the board. They did.
They went ahead with it.
They went ahead with it, and when I contacted Jeff Klein to ask him about this, he contacted Department of Mental Health, and they basically told him, well, we said the motion was for to stop West Geauga, which is an absolute lie. I spoke to other board members that 100% very disturbed with this. I think that Mr. Adams is on his own personal agenda to contaminate the kids in this county, and I can ask that he please step down before we cause more harm to our kids. And I am sick and tired of him shoving things down our kids' throats. And as a parent of this county, and with numerous parents that have learned of what the substance matter is on that survey, and for him to pull that kind of a stunt, I think is wrong. And if whatever I can do, I've already discussed this with the prosecutor too, whatever possible position and thing that I can take to bring that man to a position of justice of what he did, of an injustice to this county, and his arrogance and his lack of care makes me sick, and I'm just appalled by his total lack of care and his just inconsistencies. And the biggest thing is this board here is responsible for those board members on that. And well, for at this point 8 out of the 14, and I really feel that this board needs to look into what the board members or actions are going to be, to also take action with Mr. Adams and the staff there to figure out what we need to do to correct what's going on. This is absolutely ridiculous. It's just, I was appalled to hear this. Mr. Lair, the day that this came up, contacted the board president from Berkshire, who had absolutely no idea that this was taking place, had never seen the survey, never was even familiar at all that this was going on, but yet publicly Mr. Adams will say that all of the school board members, all of the presidents of the school boards, everybody had been completely made aware of this, notified. I've spoken to many parents, I've spoken to other people within the school boards, and it was the same thing, just like the mental health board had absolutely no idea that this was going on. And the fact of the matter that they say that this has been done for the past 9 years and this is just okay to do that, my answer to that is, we also had slavery hundreds of years ago. Would we continue to do that just because that happened? Is that the right thing to do to continue to move forward? Or do we finally take a position and change and start to look at what is potentially harming our kids?
No, Ralph, I would like to add this. I did talk with Matt Galemo. And Matt Galemo told me that, what you said about, he said every superintendent was given that survey. I mean, they've been doing it, they do it every 2 years, it's the 4th time they sent it out. And this company that does this survey, it's a federal operation that puts that survey together.
It's not.
Well, that's what he is telling me. Now, let me just finish, please. And he said that he said that it was given to these people, whether they read it or not is another thing. We sat here and read it because you gave it to us. I don't think they read it. I think there's a lot of people to be blamed here. If they haven't read it, they should have read it. And Matt said that he had paid, Matt Galemo, who is the superintendent over all the superintendents at the EOC, he said that they paid $4,000 toward the letters that went, they were called passive permission letters. A passive permission letter is a letter that if you don't respond to it, then your student goes ahead. I don't think that's a good way to do it. I think you need to have a permission letter that you have to get permission to give it to the student, period. Not one, if you don't respond, it's going to be given. Yeah. So that's the only thing that rubbed me wrong. But he said that, their office spent $4,000 sending those out, at least to West G. But it's true, a lot of the superintendents, you're right, Ralph, they did not read it,
but
and the principals didn't read it.
My position is this, though: if Matt Galemo had an issue with this passive letter as the superpower of the boards,
I don't think he had an issue with it. I think he felt because it was the 4th time it was sent out, and there had been a committee that was put together years ago on this thing, and they had agreed to that.
So I thought you just said he had an issue with the passive letter.
He said he had an issue with the fact that they said that they didn't send a letter out to the parents. Then he mentioned to me that he paid $4,000 for this passive letter. And my response was, I think the letter, that was my response, that you should have had a letter that said, in order for your students to take this survey, you have to sign this permission letter. That's what I'm saying.
Just to answer.
But it was a passive letter. It was
mental health, the night of the board meeting, mental health
I'm just telling
sent to each school the dollars available. That I don't know if they either allocated the dollars or they actually sent the envelopes and stamps to send out these letters. And I've got letters from Newberry, I've got a letter from Berkshire, and I have also the letter from Cardinal. And what they basically did was it was a form letter that they basically put their letterhead, it basically copied it on their letterhead, and then this letter basically said that if you don't want your child to take this, then sign it. Other than
that, it was passive.
And if that letter never came back, your child was susceptible to this. And the fact of the matter is that
That's a wrong kind of letter.
if our county school superintendent of Maglemo had an issue with that, and he's able to say that he wasn't, he allocated dollars that are my dollars as a county resident of this county, and he allocated school board, the dollars of his budget to this, and if he had a problem, then that's mismanagement of his budget, and also mismanagement of his responsible ethical position that he needs to take. If he sees a problem, if he's the ultimate authority of this, then he's also got I've really got an issue with him also. And
I don't know if
he
he is the ultimate authority. He just, what he mentioned was that he put out $4,000 for those letters to go to the parents to get the permission. That's what he wanted, because there had been a comment, had been no letter. And what he did is he sent, I got a picture of the letter, and I said, well, the problem with this is that it's passive,
right.
because but he countered with, well, 4 years it's gone up. This is the fourth time.
And the other thing that just really disturbed me is that all of a sudden, let's look at it. Let's look at this in another direction. Is that our children's statistics are also being shared, and this was reported in the papers. So I haven't spoke to the United Way directly myself.
The United Way said, yeah, they said something about that.
But the results are being shared supposedly that the United Way has complete access to these statistics. And my question is this, is that, the United Way may be doing a lot of good things out there, but at the same time, I think that it's the parents. Parents should also have access to know who else is getting this. And I think that
I think they should have seen the
school
survey.
boards need to come together to
Right.
basically say, we need to stop this. And I think that the parents, trust me when I tell you, are very, very, very inflamed with this. And I'm just saying, this is a big issue, and it's disturbing.
I would offer that of all the people that I've heard mentioned so far, I know almost as much as anybody's name that's been mentioned, because I've been on the school board for 8 years. I'm familiar with the survey. I'm familiar with how the survey was conducted. I'm familiar with what happened with the results of the surveys. I will preface that by saying that I believe the survey is not that great a document, because it tries to do too many things on one document. Also, I have the surveys at home. There's one that's for the 4th and 5th grade, 4th, 5th, and 6th, I think, but I'll say for certain the 4th and 5th, and one for the older kids. The one for the elementary kids is 2 pages. It asks questions that are not as invasive as the other survey. There are a number of reasons why it's so broad-based. One being it takes away from educational time, so schools aren't in favor of doing these surveys all the time. And so whoever's trying to conduct the survey tries to hit as many areas as they can. The argument, I spoke with Matt Dilemo, I went over there. I spoke with folks at Mental Health. Now, I was not here on the 11th, so I wasn't here for the initial topic when it was brought up. And I spoke with the superintendent at Chardon, who, when I spoke to him last week, they had not distributed the survey yet. In Chardon, in the past, I knew what was on the survey. I saw the survey. It's in our board. It was in the Chardon School Board's policy. If you're going to do something like that, the superintendent has to bring it to the board. Now, if there's board members who don't read it, or
That's
whatever.
enough. I don't
That's-
think they all read it.
Well, that's, if there's board
Because
members that
if
read
they
it,
did, they
you
would
can't-
be upset.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that survey's changed in some degree
No, it's the same.
since the shooting events around the country with the gun questions, but we have a heroin initiative. Yet part of the heroin initiative, I mean, we're not going to arrest our way out of the problem, and we're not going to jail people out of the problem. So there has to come a time where we try to get as much information as we can on interventions. Who's using it, at what area, and like any survey, there's got to be like a plus or minus, because I did talk to people who have said, well, the kids just get bored toward the end of the survey.
They just write anything
They just
down.
fill out anything.
I heard that from my granddaughter.
Yeah, that's just.
But when they're too
Because
long,
it's
you
too
don't want
long.
to do it.
Because it's too long a survey. I don't agree with the content of that survey, but I don't necessarily have a problem with trying to gather information to use and develop trends. Now, sharing it, I actually went to a number of years ago when the results were all compiled. They actually had an event at Punderson that I went to, in one of their big rooms over at Punderson, where they covered each question and the results question by question. I don't think it's I understand Ralph's concern. I have concerns as a parent that way. I have concern, but I'm not sure that the whole idea or concept of a survey is wrong. And
Well, they maintain that they're looking for suicidal tendency, heroin overdose, bullying, and there's another thing. What'd I miss? There's one other thing. He was telling me the four things they're looking
yeah,
for. And I says, well.
And every one of them is a negative. When do we start looking for the positive
Yeah.
for,
Well,
for these kids?
oh no, there were some
You know what the survey
questions.
companies told me, the actual founder of the company? He said he would never be able to make money with that. And
I
you know,
believe it. I
Well,
believe
back
it.
to
there's
the dollar,
nothing,
doesn't it?
nothing positive he could make money with. So the gorier and the dirtier it could be, the more money he could make, and that was exactly out of his
Well, they
own.
weren't
I
using
remember,
his own mouth.
grants,
I
that's for
remember
sure.
one of the
Using
questions
that.
on the elementary survey.
You know, I don't
I'm
think anybody's
paraphrasing.
addressing the issue that Jim Adams
Well,
went ahead after his board, and it bothers me because this board holds the majority of the membership of that board, and Jim Adams, and I can tell you this, Blake, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion just like anybody else, but when I had to sit there to listen to a lady from Thompson tell me that her son, this happened about a month or a little bit over a month ago, when she came home from work, she smelled all this like stuff in her house, thought that she had a gas leak,
Like a huffing.
and didn't have any idea what was going on, and the kid, her son, was downstairs, okay, when she saw this stuff circulating through Facebook, and the survey's all over Facebook right now. She saw this come up to her she saw this on Facebook, put two and two together and asked her son. Her son had just taken that test at Ledgemont High School. When he went home, he was downstairs spraying cans. She said he even tore open like a can of caulk to try to get a sensation of whatever they were talking about on that survey of sniffing glue. If you don't have a problem with that, God be with you. But for me, it's a real problem, because just like Judge Lepika always in her presentation says, the gateways. The marijuana is the gateway to the next level of abuse. It's the next. It opens the doors for, now they go to glue, now they go to marijuana, now they go to LSD, now they go to heroin, and all of a sudden, when you're putting something in there that says, in your adult life, do you feel it would be okay to do this 0 to 4 times, 5 times to 20 times, whatever the numbers were on that survey, it gives you the sense of saying, well, you know, maybe 1 time or 2 times isn't bad, because they're putting it, the whole way that was put out was
Seed planting is what
Excuse me,
that's-
you're saying, that the question said, do you feel it's okay to do this?
Yes.
Or have you done
It
this?
says it both ways.
Because I'm going to tell you, you and I will have to respectfully disagree on the one comment that was in your letter, that a 4th through 12th grader doesn't know about inhalants or these other things is difficult for anybody that's sat in those chairs and watched those people over the years. They learn more off the internet, and they learn more on the school bus than anything else you or I are going to say. Now, people can justify it any which way they want, but you're certainly entitled to your opinion. You have a young daughter.
My daughter has no idea about sniffing glue. And
Well,
she's
God
12
bless
years
her,
old.
and you're very darn lucky.
Well,
How old is she? 12
And
now?
I don't want some
How old is
schools.
she? 12?
She's 12 years old. She just had her 12th birthday and a 17. And I don't. And fortunately enough, God has blessed me to be able to send her to Notre Dame, which it does not allow that crap to be put into the schools. But at the end of the day, is that I don't want to. I don't want to take away from anybody to basically kill the innocence of these kids by putting that junk in front of them. And I disagree with you 110%. Is that it comes down to is that there is a constant excuse out there of internet and all this other stuff for these kids to know more about this stuff. We don't need to be putting sniffing glue in the face of a 6th grader or 5th grader, and then all of a sudden they end up turning around and doing that. And you could laugh all you want, Blake, but you are 100% wrong. And morally,
In your opinion, in my opinion, I'm telling you that a 6th grader knows way more. The average 6th grader knows way more than you give credit to. And what amazes me about this, Ralph, is your unwillingness. I mean, how do you plan on finding these drug issues, solving the opiate issues, solving the others? Do you plan on putting your head in the sand, or do you plan on addressing it from all directions? We cannot arrest, whether it's juvenile or adult, and incarcerate people out of this problem. There has to be an education and a treatment plan. And that education and treatment plan needs to start I don't say it needs to start at adolescence, but it darn sure needs to start before the bunch of them get started. I won't go any further.
And I think with that survey, I think you're right on the money, because with that survey, you will have the people starting from seeing the information on that survey to get started to look in that direction of actually becoming involved in illegal substances.
I think you're being naive
I would just
about
add,
that, but that's all right.
I'll just add one thing. As I mentioned, I too am very fortunate that I was able to send my girls where I wanted to. And, one of the things as a parent, that's one of the things I always remember Sister Bruce saying. She said, she'd get up there and she says, "This is going to be a quick meeting, but I'm going to tell you this." She says, 95% of what happens to your child comes from the home. What you do in your home is what your child is going to follow. He says, yeah, they'll get affected by this one and that, but 95% of what's going on is you. You are the one responsible. And so what do? You know, do you bring your kid home and let them sit there and watch every show on TV? When my girls were little, they weren't allowed. I didn't let them watch TV. I didn't let it happen. And it wasn't that bad then, but it's terrible now. I watched an ad last night. I couldn't believe. No. I mean, they get into things that are private, that young people, they obviously must know what these things are about.
The peer
But
pressure
it
and the
you
society
know, and I can understand. If I had a young-
has poisoned some of the things that you're saying.
Yeah.
If you
Your
take...
young
if you-
daughter, I
well,
wouldn't want,
Yeah.
I mean, I understand how.
I'm not defending it. I'm
Yeah.
not defending it. I'm just saying the reality is
Want
that.
to protect them.
The reality is, if you take your kid to school and pick them up and bring them back, you're going to shelter them from the bus. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
And what you do in your
If you
loan,
have
your
to-
attitude toward these things are gonna make a
And
difference to your
that's a
child.
good thing.
That's gonna make a
But I
difference.
can tell you that with,
But I don't want my kids reading a survey that
Yes,
has.
the question I have is, given the concerns that were raised, the legitimate
They need
concerns
to
that were raised,
read it.
well, what was the hurry for these schools to then quickly administer this test?
I have no
don't-
idea. I can't speak for those schools.
Because they've
I don't
done it
believe
for
Chardon
8
has done
years,
it
this
yet,
is
but
the
they
4th
may have.
time, they think this is just
They
part of the
hadn't as
deal.
of last week.
And I don't think they all read it. I'm convinced they didn't.
Well, here, to Ralph's point, we appointed 2 people from this board recently to that board. I appointed Jeff Klein, you appointed Chaz, can't think of his last name, but Chaz.
Chase Scott.
What?
Chase Scott.
Chase Scott, not Chaz, Chase.
Chaz.
And did they read it? No.
They had no
People
idea.
don't read, no,
They had no idea of it.
I didn't even know they gave surveys out until you brought it to this meeting.
I've
And you
been
gave
doing
it
that
to
for
us.
years.
So-
Well, why don't we move on
Yeah.
and finish up here?
Skip, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I wanted to weigh in on the survey because I feel as strongly as Ralph does on this survey. And it's, I have 10 grandkids, and I can guarantee you, Blake, they have no clue what sniffing glue is all about. I have a college-age granddaughter, who may be aware of sniffing glue, but the bath salts and the other stuff in that test are way over the top. Set that aside. That test, or that survey that was being asked, puts our kids in a position of criminalizing themselves. If they answer correctly, I've taken marijuana, I've taken heroin, I've done this, I've done that, they are admitting to a criminal act. You would never ask a child or allow a child to be asked those criminal questions without an attorney present or without permission from a parent. And so you cannot put a child in the position of making themselves a criminal or admitting to criminal behavior in a classroom. That is wrong on its face. But second to that, you have to ask yourself, what is the purpose and the intent of this survey? Does it accomplish what they want to accomplish? It does not. It is not a valid survey. If you talk to anybody who knows anything about constructing surveys, the survey is not going to generate the results, because the kids laugh at this test, many of them, because they say, oh, they're asking me if I take marijuana. They're going to screw around, in some cases, answer yes, because they're goofy kids, and they just want to screw around and answer. So the validity of that test is wrong. What's bad about that, we can laugh about that and say, well, so what? The so what on that is we're making decisions based on the outcome of that test, that survey. We've got a bad survey that we've been doing for 8 years, or however long it is, which is generating bad results, and we're making millions and millions of dollars decisions based on an invalid test. There is so much wrong with that survey. It is irresponsible for the mental health board, Jim Adams, to put that survey forward. It is irresponsible for a school board superintendents not to read that test and be aware of it and to raise it up to the parents of this county. It is irresponsible.
You arrived a little late. I said at the beginning of this that I didn't think the survey was a good survey. I didn't think it achieved anything.
It does achieve something.
Well, I don't think it
But
achieves
it
a
is
positive
negative,
thing.
not positive.
And they were all over the place. They were all over the place on it. They asked questions from A to Z, and I don't think that was valid. I don't think that's
it's an invalid test.
But I said that before you came in and sat down. That was, I prefaced with that, it's on record. That the survey itself is not,
I came in late, so I don't know if there was action being planned or whatever.
No, it's just a discussion.
I'm expressing an opinion, but,
well, it's just,
I hope
we're having
action
a
will be
discussion.
taken on this, because-
I respectfully disagree with, I don't want to, demean anyone, but I would, young kids, unfortunately, are far more aware of these issues than we would like to think, or I would like to think anyway.
I'm gonna tell you, when I read that stuff, I didn't even know half that stuff.
You're not a young kid.
You didn't go home and sniff, you didn't go home and sniff bath salts, did you, by any chance?
I use bath salts to make the water softer to release the tension in your leg.
It is.
I didn't know they, how did they do that without killing
It is a sad
themselves?
day we've come to.
I didn't
I
ever
mean,
heard
there
that.
are, if you would avail yourself of some of these programs that come, I'm assuming they come because of statistical information. There was one that was conducted by a gentleman who's retired across the parking lot now on what to look for in your home, what to look for if you notice this behavior or that behavior. It should look at different things. I went to those, I attended them, and I was extremely disappointed in the interest that parents took. When you have one of those surveys, or not a survey, when you have one of these seminars or programs, they're preaching to the choir. The people that you bring in to do the presentation are preaching to the audience who's already on board with these programs. The people who need to be there are too busy.
Right.
It's a shame. I don't have an answer. I worked for a number of years with the Chardon Community Action Team, which is a group that tries to get the message out and bring speakers in and so on. Not very well funded, so it's very difficult. And I work to increase the parent participation. When you have someone like me, most of the people that take an active role in that have adult children. We couldn't get anybody from a middle school or high school environment that had children of these ages to even become involved. They were too busy, or didn't care, I don't know. But you couldn't get them. I mean, you go to one of those meetings and you're gonna find a bunch of fossils like me. You know, my baby's 32 years old. I'm like, where are the kids that are coming up through middle school? Where are their parents? Not at all interested in it.
Well, that's sad, and you're right.
I mean,
there's a lack of interest with the parents of the children, and they want the schools to raise them. They want everyone to raise them, but they don't want to raise them.
Well, that's part of
Is that
it.
It's not fun to be a parent, let's face it.
Anymore in this society, in the way we work today, the parents have their kids in that house
Yeah.
less than they're out of the house or in another environment. Parents are working 2 jobs, they're busy with whatever, with all the social media out there. It's I don't know, it's a societal problem that I don't know who has the answer for.
I think the other issue is people that have children, whether young or older, that have a situation whether they get arrested for drugs or are involved in some kind of a drug habit. My experience has been is a lot of those people that have had kids that have gotten involved in that all of a sudden become very passive in other of a lot of these issues of don't arrest their way out, don't make a lot of these statements. Just it's unfortunate because a lot of the people that I've talked to will take a position of having a little bit more of a passive position of non-care, and it's okay to infect your other kids in this county if a lot of times if their own personal kids get involved in this, it's all of a sudden it becomes, well, my kid ended up going this route, never was my fault or never was something that I did, they just got involved in it, and then all of a sudden.
You want to expand upon that?
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, I've just seen that talking to a lot of people that and it's unfortunate because a lot of people that make decisions, a lot of people that speak on stuff, all just that I talked to somebody the other day that just had no care that this was going on. Basically, it said, well, my son had gotten arrested, and hey, this is just going to happen. Well, we just need to take a position to say, let's try to work together to try to stop some of this stuff. So, with that, let's go further with the acknowledgments. Weekly report filed by the County Dog Warden of all dogs seized, impounded, redeemed, or destroyed for the week ending December 10th, 2014. Meetings, county offices will be closed for general business due to Christmas holiday. 24-hour operations will continue to operate as normal. Regular scheduled commissioners meeting is canceled. 26th, county offices under the hiring authority of the Board of Commissioners will be closed for general business. 24 operation will continue to operate as usual. Then on the 30th, the Commissioners will hold their regular session with the public hearing at 10:30 for the proposed dedication of existing undedicated extension, Stillwater Drive in Russell Township. On January 1st, will be closed for New Year's. And the 6th, Commissioners will hold a regular session. The 8th, Commissioners will hold a regular session. And on the 12th, we'll have the annual reorganizational meeting at 10 a.m. With that, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.